Okay, so I'd like to have a moment of silence to those who died in the Kyoto Animation fire 1 year ago. You know, it was really painful for me. My favorite anime, or a lot of my favorite anime, actually come from Kyoto Animation, such as K-On! And Haruhi Suzumiya. My favorite anime movie, A Silent Voice, was also produced by Kyoto Animation. So, how did I find out about the attack? Well, last year, before the pandemic, I was in Tokyo, and it was a pretty cloudy day, and I didn't feel like very energetic enough to go outside. So, the only thing I did was I spent about 1 to 2 hours around Ueno, which is about like a 10-minute walk from my Airbnb. And then I took a nap. As soon as I woke up and turned on the TV, the studio was already burning. So I let people know about this, and to be honest, a lot of original artwork was destroyed in the fire. And also, I got to hear different perspectives on the uh, Kyoto Animation fire, and also the current relations between Japan and South Korea. So the day after the fire, I actually went home, and it was a pretty long journey because since I also went to Korea that year, last year, I had to fly from Haneda to Incheon Airport, and then from Incheon to JFK, which means that I actually had to fly 2 hours west before I flew 14 hours east. And while my plane was flying over the Pacific Ocean, I was going to the lavatory when I saw a Korean woman reading a newspaper, and judging by how everything was designed on that newspaper, I think South Korea viewed the Kyoto Animation fire very negatively. Like, they probably used it as an insult to Japan. And there were also other developments during my trip last year. Like, for example, on July 5th, 2019, I was on my way to Busan, hoping that I would actually get to see, like, the second largest city in South Korea and also the principal port of the Korean Peninsula. But the thing is, I was on the KTX. It was a really comfortable uh, train, and yeah, it's a little bit old and it uses French TGV technology, but I was looking at the monitors and they said something about the news, and they said Japan might have some issues with South Korea. And how did I know about this? Because uh, in South Korea, uh, when they mention anything about Japan, they usually do this. This is what usually happens when you read newspapers in South Korea. Because because that's the Hanja equivalent of this Hangul term, or should I say, this is the Hangul equivalent of this Chinese character, and this is what happens when you watch the news or read the news in South Korea. So, and then I heard about the conflict, and it was escalating. And then once I went to Japan, I was in Shibuya, which is actually a pretty shady place to begin with. And near the station, I saw a bunch of tabloids talking about the Japan-Korea conflict. And they had a really pro-Japanese point of view on it. And as a result, the conflict just escalated. Then on August 1st, while I was in Canada, I heard that Shinzo Abe finally decided to strip South Korea of its free trade permissions, which kind of started the downfall of South Korea's economy because flights were being canceled and people started boycotting Japanese products in Korea. Although surveys have shown that in Japan they like Korean products because A, it's cheap, and B, they look very stylish. As in cute and stuff. Because usually in Japan they have something that looks very industrial. I could list an example. And this is actually one of the most important examples because of I'll show you a really important example of Japanese industrial design. Now, please note that this is actually from the 1980s, and it does not currently reflect Japan's current design. So, it was a JFIF file. No, it's not supported. So I have to somehow convert to a CP100. Wait, it was Sony CDP. Was it 101? I'm having a lot of technical issues right now. Okay, so this is what industrial design in Japan looked like in 1982. And just in case you don't know, this is actually the first CD player to go on sale. And as of now, the CD format is almost 38 years old. 2 more years and it's 40. Now, the CD is very important because it was the first, consumer format with digital audio, to my knowledge. Yes, there was, a recorder that Tape Mode mentioned that you could actually put a VHS tape and record digital audio, but that predated the CD, and it was also too expensive for too many people. So what the CD accomplished is that you can actually listen to music, up to 74 minutes initially, but later got extended to 80. Minutes of digital audio on just 12 centimeters, or 5 inches. Now, this means that, and it also used digital technology, which meant that there would be no noise associated with vinyl records. But here's the problem. CDs can also get scratched. However, the CD scratches are different than a vinyl scratch because when you scratch a CD, you're only scratching the protective layer. If you scratch it from the bottom. If you scratch it from the top, that's the data layer. And that's where things go wrong. on a vinyl record, which many people are actually using right now, to my dismay, you scratch a vinyl and the sound's done. Okay? Plus, a normal LP can only hold up to like 45 minutes. However, a lot of music studios have been getting really lazy and they only put like 23 minutes on each record. Which brings me to another point. Ariana Grande. Yeah, I have criticized her so much during the stream, and actually my criticisms were not unfounded. So, because of, I actually had valid reason to criticize her. So, if I just, I didn't set up my like setup, so I'm just gonna do my display capture. So here you could see that she describes herself as a liberal feminist and is an active supporter of leftist values, such as left-wing protests and events. She also performed on it. And not just that, but she does not like her own fans either. She even like okay, so she did make a ton of pathetic remarks. Like they be careful what you wish for. No one told Ariana Grande that she got what she wished for, because she said that she made a few disparaging comments before the massacre at her concert. She caused a total nightmare when fans lined up for hours paying $495 to have the photo taken for her when Grande did not. It was a no-show. And also, she wanted all her fans to fucking die. I'm sorry for the vulgar language, but here we want to like, and she has also made outrageous demands to reporters where they're not allowed to ask about her dating her disastrous Nickelodeon show. By the way, Nickelodeon, how are you doing with all the losses you're incurring because of your advertisement 2 months ago? Collaboration with Justin Bieber and comparisons to Mariah Carey. And I don't know. Now, she even says that she hates America and she hates Americans. And this brings me to another point. Specifically, hold on. What is it? I'll just go to my YouTube channel right here. Okay, so I would like to take a moment and say thank you for 132 subscribers. My channel is growing unexpectedly while I stopped making like proper content because all my content now is streamed. So if you go to like part 1, which I actually filmed last year, chapter 3, part 1, Una Crawford says, hold on. Okay, compared to Ariana Grande's comments. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I might have to I might have to edit this stream because you see the difference? You've seen the difference already, right? Oh wait, and by the way, my new Twitter account is Una Crawford. Replace the O with a 0. Unfortunately, my previous Twitter account got suspended because I made some remarks about the Three Gorges Dam, which right now is in trouble because of like it's in trouble because of massive flooding in China. Like almost every agricultural province you can think of in China is flooding due to heavy rains and stuff. And Taiwanese intelligence has even speculated that the Three Gorges Dam might fail. So, back to what I was talking about earlier. So, yeah. And then, we also saw Ariana Grande. Like, she showed sympathy. Oh wait, I said that in another stream, but she showed sympathy for the very same people who attacked her concerts. And so many of her fans died in there. Like, be careful what you wish for, because it might just come to you. Alright, so what's next? I'm not sure if I'm going to get a copyright strike from this stream, but I will edit out some parts of it because yeah. And okay, so what I talked about earlier is that right now there's a rift between Japan and South Korea. And and South Korea is they were invited by the United States to join the D10 alliance, which consists of all members of the G7. If I remember correctly, they include the US, Canada, Japan, UK, France, Germany, and Japan. Did I say Japan? I think it was the sixth member was Italy or something. Let me check. Yeah, it was Italy. And US President Donald Trump also invited South Korea, Australia, and India so they could counter the People's Republic of China. Which, by the way, they have. I now have overwhelming evidence that they are basically. They are basically manipulating the current unrest in the US by paying US media millions and millions just to say that, oh, you should support black businesses and there's all their slavery stuff. Well, those rioters you're talking about, they're going after anti-slavery figures. Because real anti-slavery figures. Not the real slavery figures. They're going out. And since lawmakers are siding with law breakers, I don't know. Like, California has essentially turned themselves into a communist country. Because not only is the majority of America's SJWs located in California, but they are... but also, most of the corporate dictatorship happens in blue states. So we're not a democracy or a federal republic. We're a corporate dictatorship. It was never in our constitution, but... Okay, so... This is my new PS4 game, which, I got for free. Square Enix gave it away. Now, for today's game, I will be covering the South Korean version of Trails of Cold Steel 3. 1 year ago, I uploaded a video about it. And I was planning to do a translation, but by the time I kind of gave up because, as I explained in the description of that video, killing Hanja in South Korea actually made things harder for Koreans. I'll also show you a really cool trick later. You can actually load up Korean saves in the Japanese version. Because it has the same product code. And since this game is actually detected in Sony's database, Sony USA's database, the publisher is Nice America instead of Nihon Falcom. So, I'll start the game. I was supposed to be playing Puyo Puyo Tetris, which was a pretty, chill game until you start playing competitively. When you play competitively, it turns into something really undesirable. Now, I'll also have to talk about the PS5 and how it relates to the current situation. To the PS4 launch. Unfortunately, console wars have... These days, it's not like Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, where there's innovation off the charts and stuff. So yes, Tetris Effect is getting installed right now. So... I'm just going to load up the... Please note that this actually uses Japanese audio. And actually, I found this copy while I was in, there's going to be some pretty long cutscenes, but not as long as, like, Soul. Yeah, I miss Japanese trains because I wasn't able to go anywhere due to the pandemic or any international travel. So this is me just witnessing my copy of Trails of Cold Steel 3 for the first time. Like, I didn't buy it initially, but a few days later I came back to the same store and I bought that copy. So... and it's... it does have some Korean terms too. Now, there's no Ruby text in the Korean versions of the Trails of Cold Steel games, mainly because it's kind of, and also
そろそろ到着か。
ああ。
I don't understand that much Korean, but
この1ヶ月ガレリア要塞に預けっぱなしだったからな。
But the thing is, I could still understand some of the Japanese lawyers. So basically, we said that it might have been painful to be locked up at Guerrilla Fortress for 1 month. And the voice actors' names in the Korean version, they actually use the what was it? The Latin characters, like. But in the English version, they just disappear because there is adjustable settings. I'm really sorry about that.
これも必要な手続きだろう。休止状態における私の負荷は微々たるものでしかない。しがらみにとらわれがちなお主の負担を軽くするためならば本望だ。
Unfortunately, I can't really understand Valmar's voice because it's really digitized.
まったく、もう人間と変わらないな。
Yeah.
ありがとう、マリマル。
He said
どうい
thank
たし
you.
ましてだ。
Okay, so we meet Tita.
あ、ちゃんとありました。
やれやれ。何を警戒してるんだか知らねえが、搬入にも立ち会わせないとはな。何？
すごい。
噂には聞いちゃいたが、
この2人は
全長7アージの人型最新兵器、機構兵だったか。
違うみたいです。
Unfortunately, you will have a hard time translating the Korean translation of Panzer Soldats in this game because Sony actually localized the game to Korean, and unfortunately the term Panzer Soldat is not found on the Naver English Korean dictionary or Google Translate, so
愛の騎士ですよね。
そいつは。
ああ、その通りだ。一般人、ましてや外国の人が知っているとは思わなかったが。
which brings me to my next point.
こういうものに結構興味がある方なので。
何が結構だ。一家揃って筋金入りのくせに。それよりよく俺たちが外国人だって気づいたな。
ほんの少しアクセントの違いが。
Yeah, there's an accent.
南の方、リベールあたりからですか？
ビンゴだ。そうか。お
Um,
前が灰色の。
so even though in the Japanese voice they said bingo, in the Korean version they said that's correct. I just don't know why. Some stuff gets lost in translation, of course.
ええ。本当に
There's even this one part in chapter 1 of Trails of Cold Steel 1 where Rena was declared by instructor Sarah as being the center of its class, but is not the leader. Because in Japanese, it's actually a homophone. But in English, they couldn't find a similar one. So...
シュバルツァいるか？
Okay, so that's Patrick Firearms. Well, the last time I saw him in Cold Steel 1 was... I was guessing the end of Chapter 4 when the Heimdall Festival got attacked.
問
by
題ない
Imperial Liberation
いつでも
Front.
降りられる。
邪魔したな。こっちも準備するぞ。
Do you want me to skip after all the dialogue? Because I could do it for you. I do have a bunch of unfinished.
失礼しました
I do have a bunch of unfinished projects, which include my first episode 1 of my Sakura Taisen Dreamcast translation, which I've kind of procrastinated over. I got most of the work done while I was in California last October because my Airbnb was small, but thankfully in Dali City, but thankfully it had good internet. The one I had in Los Angeles had like AT&T DSL, which is pretty crap.
なんだ一般人じゃなさそうだが。
ああ、外国人で彼らも次で降りるみたいだ。もしかしたら俺の就職先に関係しているかもしれないな。
なるほどな。
So basically, now it's illegal
いろいろとうろんな噂を聞いてはいるが。
California to even display a cross because and the state just shut down again because it happened that
リーブス駅リーブス駅です
that people were so dumb in California
しばらく停車いたします
and they
10分ほどお待ちください
and they went to protest despite the pandemic. And there are even posts on Instagram that were justifying the protests, which weren't really protests at all because it became riots. And to quote "No justice, no peace" is actually an incitement of communist revolution.
相変わらずみたいだな。
今年に入ってからはおとなしくしていたんだが、雑誌社の取材なんかも全て断らせてもらっているし。
それがより憶測と美化を生み、若き英雄の偶像性を高めるわけだ。かの北方戦役にしても、事実とはかけ離れた活躍ぶりが噂されていたみたいだしな。
They're talking about the Northern War, which happened between Cold Steel 2 and Cold Steel 3. But which one?
失言だったか。
Which video would you like to see next? The Cold Steel 1 part chapter 4 part 7 video? Or was it part 8? Or Cold Steel 3 chapter 1 part 3 on the PlayStation 4?
いいんだ。
And unfortunately my triple comparison project kind of got derailed due to several computer problems and
いや、2年間共に切磋琢磨してくれて。
and also the coronavirus pandemic and the rioting.
栄えある一組の生徒として当然のことをしたまでだ。出席日数はギリギリ、いつも理不尽な難題を押し付けられておきながら、一人であがいてやり遂げてしまう不器用なライバルのことをせめて気にかけられないよね。
Actually, this part of the game does have Ruby text. So basically, the Ruby text says, I'm sorry if this looks like a potato job, but you get to actually see it right here. Now, if I just go
パトリック。そっちはカイトで公爵家の名代を務めるんだったか。大変な役目だとは思うけど、どうか頑張ってくれ。
アルバレアに遅れを取るわけにはいかないからな。君こそ曰く付きの就職先でせいぜいあがいて頑張るといい。それと近いのだし、エリゼさんとの連絡も欠かさないようにしたまえ。
So, what he's referencing is event in chapter 4 of Cold Steel 1 where Reem was and Elise were arguing over the future of the Schwarzer family. and Elise just ran away and ended up in the old schoolhouse.
なんだったら僕のこともついでに。
ありがとうパトリック。だがそれは全く別の問題だな。
It's so strange seeing this game at 60 frames per second, especially after I played some of the game while waiting for the dentist. Which, by the way,
そのうちまた会おう。
I had like cleaning like a few days ago, but it turned out I have a cavity. And they wanted to schedule my next appointment for next Wednesday. If you know anything about next Wednesday,
君たち7組の約束。
yeah, it's talking about the promise,
果たされるといいな。
and they have to fulfill it. So basically, you want to schedule for next Wednesday, but you want to know what next Wednesday is? I'm doing a stream where I basically install Windows 10 manually. I did some research off of Enderman's video, and I'm going to try doing it, except with Japanese as the UI language.
ああ、もちろんだ。
So, there's basically a lot of dialogue, and oh yeah, and just to tell you something, I did buy the soundtrack on CD, and I also bought the digital version on more.jp, and also I bought I was able to buy the MQA version from eOnkyo, which is actually a site that's really hard to buy from. It sounds really peaceful. But I was so surprised when Nihon and Falcom actually releases their soundtracks on MQA, because it is such a controversial technology. Some people say that it's one of the best things in the world because of the unfolding and also the sonic integrity, but others have criticized it due to it being a DRM chain. But I'm on the boat of DRM chain. Plus other reasons. I have overwhelming evidence.
今まで降りたことはなかったな。トリスタと同じくらいか。ライノの花も咲いてるみたいだ。
They say Ino flowers in the English version, but it's Lino in Japanese. For some reason. Now, you do see this in all versions of Cold Steel 3. This is probably using PS4 version, the PS4 screenshots for Cold Steel 1 and 2. Even the PC port for Cold Steel 3 shown the PS4 versions, like screenshots of Cold Steel 1 and 2, which is actually pretty surprising because which is actually pretty surprising because the screenshots they use in Cold Steel 1 and 2 on the PC by default were from the PS3 version. But thankfully, you could just download the zip file from the Steam community, and you could just
確かにまだ完成したばかりの施設みたいだな。バリマールが敷地の格納庫に運んでくれるらしいが。
リーン君
Wait, oh, I think I remember seeing a Korean drama 2 years ago, before Drama Fever shut down. Yup, we're officially Wally status here.
やっぱりリーン君だ。雑誌とかで見てはいたけど大人っぽくなったね。背もずいぶん伸びたんじゃない？人違いかと思っちゃったよ。
とは会長？
ひょっとして私もちょっとだけ見違えちゃった？
Yeah, actually, you see in this version, in Cold Steel, Riots has like a more suggestive,
ないけどできる女性っぽさが増したとか。 それともちょっとだけスタイルも良くなったんじゃ。
って待ってください。その久しぶりというか、なかなか連絡が取れなかったところに不意打ちだったのもありますか？どうして会長がそんな格好で俺の就職先の町にいるんですか？
Now, about the Metacritic and Last of Us 2 stuff, it shows that we're actually in a corporate dictatorship, not a communist country. So, I'll probably update the title of that stream to better reflect what is really happening.
ごめんね、私の方は知ってたけど、でもリン君の方だってある程度は聞いてると思ってたよ。
ええ、卒業の前後にいろいろごたごたがありまして、多分ご存知かとは思うんですが。
もちろん。私がこの町に来たのもそれが理由の一つだったし、リン君が同じ道を選んだのは嬉しいサプライズだったけど。
会長、
改めてになるけどリン君卒業おめでとう。多分それを言いたい人は他にもいっぱいいると思うけど、ちょっとだけ抜け駆けさせてもらうね。
会長ありがとうございます。いや、もう会長は変ですか。これからのこともありますし。
そうだね、先輩でいいんじゃないかな。
It's in Korean, they use this term "sonbae," which I'm not sure if it's really used in Korean.
リン君に会長って呼ばれるの好きだったからもったいない気もするけど。
相変わらずだな、この人は。
Yeah, her lustful eyes. Like, look at this. Crap. See those eyes? Okay. Now, we're going to continue with the game. I've been streaming for quite a while.
先輩は一足先に赴任したんですよね。新たな職場、実際どういう状況なんですか？
リン君もここを選んだ時にいろいろなことを言われたと思うんだけど、多分思っている以上に難しくて大変な職場だと思う。
そうですか。当然覚悟はしていましたが、同僚の方々とは一通り。
もう挨拶してリン君が最後になるかな。これから紹介するけど、その心を強く持っててね。
なんだか胃がキリキリしてきそうなんですが。
大丈夫大丈夫、私だって同じ立場なんだから。同じトールズの卒業生として力を合わせて乗り越えていこうね。
了解です。
Roger that.
あれが
So this is the branch campus. Now, it's known as the second branch of Doors Military Academy and the Asian
デザインは違
versions.
っても同じ遊郭の師門ですか。
They call it the branch campus in the Japanese,
私
in
たち
the
の
English
新
and
たな
French
職場の
version.
正門。ようこそリーン君。ここリーブスに新たに発足するトールズ士官学院第二分校へ。
So, this part is full of cutscenes. Because as soon as you start the chapter, you have to head straight into the Now, this is one part where my PC really struggled with the early builds of the game, but the PS4 was able to do it flawlessly. Still considering if I should upgrade to a 1070 or 2060 Super. I mean 1660 Super. Man, Nvidia is getting confusing. Oh, 1070 is older. It's cheaper than the 1660 Super, which basically invalidates the regular 1660 because it has performance closer to a 1660 Ti.
よく来たな、リーン・シュバルツァー君。
Well, my real name's Michael, but in German it's Michael.
ミハイル・アービングだ。出向という形ではあるが、
So use the German
本銀行の主
transliteration.
任教官を務める予定だ。
まさかこんなところで噂の人物にお目にかかれるとはな。
And we have Randolph of Orlando, which
ランドルフ・オルランド、帝国軍クロスベル方面隊からの出向だ。
yeah, he comes from Crossbelt, and also he's a playable character in Zero no Kiseki and Ao no Kiseki. I do have my copy of Ao no Kiseki for the PS4. Unfortunately, I have not played it. I did, however, install
あちこ
it.
ちで聞いてるよ。せいぜいお手柔らかに頼むぜ。
So I probably need to play more Ao no Kiseki, but my focus on Sen no Kiseki 1 right now. Or Cold Steel
メイン
1.
シュバルツァー、この春トールズ士官学院の本校を卒業したばかりの若輩者です。よろしくお願いします。ミハイル少佐、ランドルフ注意を。
ああ、こちらこそだ。灰色の騎士の有名、共に働けることを光栄に思う。だが、ここで求められるのは、騎士による英雄的行為ではない。教官としての適性と将来性、遠慮なく見極めさせてもらう。
So basically, here he has to be an instructor.
鉄道憲兵隊、正規軍きってのエリート部隊。
Now, the abbreviation for RMP in the Asian versions is TMP, which means Tetsudo Military Police or something. Tetsudo is railway or railroad in Japanese. But in Korean, it's Chodo Honbonde, which is railroad military police. And they also used Ruby text here. I'm not sure why they didn't use it in Cold Steel 1 or 2. Because I've seen footage of those games. I have not owned the Korean versions because I couldn't find them while I was in South
ま
Korea.
さかその左官クラスが派遣されているとは思わなかったが、それに加えて
So,
その様子だといろいろとご存知みたいだね。情報局のファイルあたりを閲覧でもしたかい？
ええ、否定はしません。
yeah. So basically he admitted that he actually looked through the intelligence bureau's, or intelligence division's, files.
ま、さすがにお前さんほどじゃないだろうけどな。
とにかくこれで教官は全員揃いましたね。潮さん、ランドルフ教官も改めてよろしくお願いします。
あ
I'll probably do a graphic comparison for the first episode of the Cold Steel 3 triple comparison. And for the second one, I will use... I'll do a
卒業時の鉄
literary
道
one.
憲兵隊の勧誘。
I'll try to make it
蹴ってく
trilingual
れた
too,
目合わせの意味で
because
もな。
even though I have barely any knowledge of Korean, my Japanese is kind of getting rusty, so...
へえ、見た目と違って随分優秀みたいだな。飛び級してるみたいだが、17くらいは言ってるのかい
7. This is a big Wally
そ
moment.
の21歳になるんですけど。
Good, I won't be arrested by the police then. Which, by the way, it get cold like Minnesota. Basically, I commented on the music video and I said fuck Minnesota on there because I'm in disbelief what they
教官が4名。予想通り
serious disbelief.
このメンバーで一通りのカリキュラムを。
ああ、学生数も少ないし、なんとかやりくりするしかあるまい。平時の座学に訓練、それ以外の細々とした業務も行ってもらう。
And as I said earlier,
特別顧問や
in chapter 1 of Cold
一応
Steel
手伝っていただくつもりだ。
3, Yuna Crawford says that she has problems with the Erebonian government, but with people, she's completely different. However, Ariana Grande shown that she's actually a terrorist. And so all those people who support the BLM organization.
特別顧問
So taking a kneel to BLM is the same thing as taking a kneel to communists in China.
それに文校長もどういった方々なんですか？
それはいやなんつうか帝国ってのは広いというかまさかあんな強烈な人間がこの世にいるなんて
I'm gonna get through this part of the game too slowly. Because I feel like I want to play the PC port of Mario 64 right now. Although I cannot show it on YouTube because of Nintendo's lawyers. Also, Ariana Grande's lawyers might be going after me too.
待たせたな。
と噂をすれば
So...
お待ちしていました。
何をほうけた面をしている。あの内戦以来になるが、私の顔を覚えていないのか。
Actually, in Korean his name was pronounced Sumit too. But in English it's Schmidt, but I say Schmidt.
なあ、こちら
Like an Adam Chef. Bullshit. Yeah, you know what?
久しぶりです
Bullshit.
博士バリマールの太刀の成
The
績
Democrat Party.
あの時は本当にお世話になりました。
礼は無用と言ったはずだ。特別顧問という肩書きだが、私は自分の研究にしか興味はない。せいぜい役に立ってもらうぞ。
I ended up being alienated once again.
灰の機動車。
And you could even get alienated for like Chorus, which is a Alicization game, but there have been serious problems with it, such as specifically for the PC port.
50
You
年
have
前に
really
モーメントを発明したエプスタイン博士の参考程の一人偽物というわけじゃないんだよな
間違いないとは思いますけど。
なるほど。自分が採用されたことにもまさかあなたまでいらっしゃるとは
It just gets too
夢にも
boring.
思いませんでしたが
半年ぶりか、シュバルサー。改めてになるが、晴れて教官となるそなたら全員に名乗らせてもらおう。
Yep, that's Oreo Gwyn.
1年半前の内戦で貴族連合軍の総司令を務めた敗軍の将、そして半年前の北方戦役にてノーザンブリア併合を主導した者オーレリア・ルグイン。これよりトールズ第二分校の分校長を務めさせてもらう。
リン君。
なるほど噂には聞いちゃいたが鉄道憲兵隊の少佐殿が派遣されるのも当然かもな
文校長、そろそろ帝国ですがいかがいたしますか。
始めるとしよう。ハーシェル、ひな鳥たちをグラウンドへ。
リン君、後でね。
さーてとどんなメンツが揃っていることやら
シュバルサー、君も遅れないよう。
これより第二の新入生全員への入学式を兼ねた挨拶がある。
そうだったんですか？自分は何も。
そなたには何も伝えず日時だけを指定したからな。他にはクラス分けと担当生徒との顔合わせもある。灰色の騎士の気骨、せいぜいひな鳥たちに示すがよい。
難しくて大変な職場。誇張でも何でもなさそうだな。まあいい。 一応これをつけておくか。
I think I might remain silent the entire stream because these next few parts are getting boring. Yes, you could skip cutscenes, but there are several more. So I'm estimating around you have to sit through 15 minutes of cutscenes. No, that's not 15 minutes. I look back at my videos. I had to sit through like at least 20 minutes of cutscenes, which is pretty long. Because my attention span has actually decreased since last day. Yup, that's you and Crawford, my new Twitter account. My old one got deleted because of yeah. I'm getting tired, but I have to continue because it's doing shorter with his glasses.
あの女性は
まさか黄金の羅刹。
それにあの黒髪の人って。
あの有名な。あ、さっきの。
マジかよ。
Yeah, seriously,
予
eat
想
great.
外。
No, seriously, I was actually playing the Nintendo Switch version of the game the other day,
嘘。
and I was taking screenshots for the Switch. I zoomed in on her body profile. Also, you know Crawford is voiced by Nao Toyama in
これよりトールズ士官学院第二分校の入学式
Japanese
を執り
version,
行う
which
略式のため式辞当時は省略クラス分けを発表するまずは8組戦術家担当教官はランドルフ・オルランド
うっす呼ばれたやつは前に来てくれゼシカウェインシドニーマヤそれにアッシュフレディグスタフレオノーラの8名だ
次9組主計科担当教官はトワ・ハーシェル
名前だけ呼ぶね。サンディちゃん、カイリくん、ティータちゃん、ルイゼちゃん、タチアナちゃん、バレリーちゃん、ミュゼちゃん、パブロくん、スタークくんの9名かな。
I'm guessing in the South Korean version they have the uncensored slap scene.
戦術家に主計科か。すると残るは
Yup, these three.
正式にこれより本文校を預かる文校長お願いしま
Oh, I
す
accidentally skipped over the voice line. Turn off automatic.
第二の文校長となったオーレリア・ルグインである。外国人もいるゆえこの名を知る者知らぬ者はそれぞれだろうがうすうす気づいている通りこの第二文校は捨て石だ。
In the English version, she called it a trash bin.
本年度から皇太子を迎え徹底改革されるトールズ本校。そこで受け入れられない厄介者やいわくつきをまとめて使い潰すためのな。そなたらもそして私を含めた教官陣も同じであろう。
Yo, have you seen the trailer of Cold Steel 4?
おいおい
I literally saw Ring was chained up, and actually, his ogre power was actually permanently transformed. And guess what happened? You had to fight him the first, like early on in the game.
だが
You had to save him.
常在戦場という言葉がある。 平時で得難きその気風を学ぶには絶好の場所であるとも言えるだろう。自らを高める覚悟なき者は今この場で去れ。教練中に気を緩ませ女神のもとへ行きたくなければな。ならばようこそトールズ士官学院第二分校へ。若者よ、世の礎たれ。かのドライケルス帝の言葉をもって諸君を歓迎させてもらおう。
Yeah, look at Lucy's profile.
で、なんか気迫に飲み込まれちゃったけど。
ああ、結局のところ僕
Oh, I skipped over the voice line again.
将軍、いえ分校長そろそろクラス分けの続きを発表していただけませんか。
よかろう。本分校の編成は本校の1から6組に続く7から9組の3クラスとなる。そなたら3名の所属は7組特務課。担当教官はその
Oh, right.
シュバルツァーとなる。
I should mention that I actually used this frame as a thumbnail for for part 2 of the Switch English version. So, let's see, it should be in my pictures. I actually put Tom Nook in there. Can you spot him? Let's see, was it not? Should be a little bit earlier. That's not plus. Okay. I used this exact frame. See? It was actually kind of hard putting Tom Nook in here. Okay? But the angle on the Switch version is actually much smaller. Or the FOV is much smaller due to the Switch being less powerful. This is another part where my PC struggled. I might do a performance analysis on the second one as well. Make the second half devoted to performance analysis. It's called Ainoki, but in the Japanese and Korean versions, they call it Aino Small Fortress. So big. Now, Tito Russell having such a high voice, you know what it sounds like, okay?
お前には各種オペレーションをやらせる。ラッセルの名と技術、せいぜい示してみるがいい。
列車で会った子はやっぱり第二の生徒だったか。ラッセル、どこかで聞いたことがある気もするが、それにしても
more Pina's profile. It seems like every game they make the OPI bigger and the profile more sexual.
偶然じゃないんだろうな。生徒数はたったの3名。しかも彼女までいるとは。
現在戦術家と死刑家はそれぞれ入学オリエンテーションを行っているが、7組特務課には入学時の実力テストとしてこの商用祭を攻略してもらう。
攻略？
そもそもこの建物は一体
アインヘル商用祭第2と合わせて建造させた実験用の特殊訓練施設だ。内部は動力機構による可変式で難易度設定も思いのまま。
Yeah.
適正対象として魔獣なども多数放たれている。
The beasts crawling around in there.
魔獣冗談でしょ。
Is it a
なる
joke?
ほど。7組。そして特務課。思わせぶりなその名を実感させる入学オリエンテーションですか。新米教官への実力テストを兼ねた。
話が早くて助かる。と言ってもかつて君がいた7組とは別物と思うことだ。教官である君自身が率いることで目的を達成する特務小隊、そういった表現が妥当だろう。
なるほど。それで
ちょっと待ってください。黙ってついてきたら勝手なことをペラペラと。そんなことをこんなクラスに所属するなんて一言も聞いていませんよ。
適正と選抜の結果だ。
Voice sounds like not Toriyama.
不満ならば荷物をまとめて軍警学校に戻っても構わんが。
軍警学校。確かクロスベルの。
Crossbell Police Academy.
納得はしていませんが状況は理解しました。それで自分たちはどうすれば。
ああ、シュバルツァー教官以下4名は商用祭内部に入りしばし待機。
Okay, so we get the master quartz here.
その間各自情報交換とシュバルツァー教官には候補生にアークス2の指南をしてもらいたい。
了解しました。
これでようやく稼働テストができるか。ぐずぐずするな弟子候補。10分で準備してもらうぞ。
Is it just me or did Schmidt's voice sound really unclear or frail? So
聞いてた以上にふざけた学校みたいだな。
本来ならば部外者には立ち入ってほしくないのだが。
言われなくても余計なことをするつもりはねえよ。あいつの入学を見届けたらとっとと行かせてもらうぜ。
結構皇族の紹介があるとはいえ勘違いはしないことだ。この後お仲間たちと帝国内でどう動くかも含めてな。
そいつはお前さんたち次第じゃねえのか。いろんな思惑が絡み合ってるとはいえこんな分校がポンとできちまう。そんな状況を生み出してるのはどこのドイツだって話だろうが。
さすがは永久といったところか。
So now we see Tia setting up the, I don't know, keep? This is literally me when I stream. Honestly.
機械仕掛けの訓練施設。博士ならではといった感じだな。で、概要についてどこまで知っているんだ。
詳しくは何も。地上は一辺50アージの立方体。
So it's 50 meters on each side, so it's like 164 feet on each side. It's like a cube. Not the game cube. Which, speaking by the way, I still have yet to make a video about Mr. Droland, but because of my poor mental health, I held off on it.
こんな場所で会うなんてさすがに想定外だったが、それはともかく準備が整うまでの間、互いに自己紹介をしておこう。申し訳ないが到着したばかりで君たち2人のことは知らなくてね。俺は
名乗る必要なんてないでしょ。
Oh yeah, I'm watching Rent a Girlfriend right
リ
now,
ーン・シュバルツァー
and it's really
学生
funny.
の身でありながら1年半前にあった帝国の内戦を終結させ、クロスベル戦役でも大活躍した若き英雄。帝国どころかクロスベルでも知らない人はいないくらいの有名人じゃないですか。
補足すると、その後も在学しながら帝国各地の事件や変事を解決し、昨年10月の北方戦役ではオーレリア、ウォレス両将に協力する形でノーザンブリア併合に貢献したらしい。
そうなの？
Wait, is it like how China took over Tibet or
って
something?
いうか、ノーザンブリア
And
併合
most
に
recently
貢献
Hong
したって
Kong. You
ご情
know
報
I
で
ain't
すね。
playing. She's
実
angry.
際には。
いや、よく知ってるな。英雄なんてすぐに呼び名だが、それでも改めて名乗らせてくれ。
Now it's time for introductions.
リーン・シュバルツァー、トールズ士官学院本校出身だ。
I mean, it is a
先月卒業
graduate.
したばかりで、ここ第二分校の新米教官として本日赴任した。
Not sure why my thing was
武
splashing
術
red.
気候兵教連の担当。座学は歴史学を教えることになる。7組特務課の担当教官を務めることになるらしいから、よろしく頼む。
では自分も。
It's Kurt Vander.
クルト・バンダール、テート・ヘイムダルの出身です。シュバルツァー教官のことは一応噂以外にも耳にしています。
バンダール、そうだったのか。するとゼクス将軍やミュラー中佐の。
ミュラーは自分の兄、ゼクスは叔父にあたります。まあ髪の色も含めて全然似ていないでしょうが。
それは確かに黒髪じゃないし、全然似ていないような。
それはともかく、そのメガネは伊達ですか？あまり似合っていないので外した方がいいと思いますよ。
You know, in in the English version, instead he says, "Ooh."
まあそれなりに需要はありそうですが。
ああ、似合ってないのは自覚してるから勘弁してくれ。よろしくクルト。それじゃあ続けて頼む。
ああ、もうわかりました。
Toyama.
ユーナ・クロフォード、クロスベル警察学校の出身です。正直よろしくしたくないけど、そうもいかないのでよろしく。
Isn't that just similar to the line that what Elisa said at the beginning of Cold Steel 1?
ちなみに警察学校というのはクロスベル軍警学校のことだよな。
併合前は警察学校でした。それを帝国が勝手に変えて。
Oh wait, so the official name of Rhode Island was State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, but they cut off Providence Plantations from their official name. And it's all thanks to cultural Marxism, America's worst
それ
enemy.
とも正式名称以外は使うなって言うんですか？
いや、大部ない。悪い、無神経だったようだ。
別に私も言い過ぎました。でも納得はできません。
ああ、だろうな。
最後は私ですね。アルティナ・オライオン、帝国軍情報局の所属でした。
あっさり明かすのか。
一応ここに入学した時点で所属を外れたことになっています。どうかお気になさらず。
聞き捨てならないことを聞いた気がするんだが。
情報局って噂に聞いた。 れよりことになってるって何よ。失礼、噛みました。
相変わらずだな。
お待たせしました。アインヘル訓練要塞レベル0、セッティング完了です。アークス2の準備がまだならお願いします。
Time to prepare the Arcus 2s. But instead of preparing the Arcus 2s, I'm actually going to save the game since I'm really tired.
了解だ。少し待ってくれ。
I mean, the summer heat really
いきなりになる
takes
が、
a toll on you,
3人ともこれを
honestly.
持っているか？
So they're going over the Arcus 2s.
ええ、それなら。
送られてきたやつね。まだ起動はしてないけど。
戦術オーブンと所持者と連動することによって様々な機能を発揮する個人端末だ。動力魔法が使えたり身体能力が向上したりするが、
So they say orbital arts in the Ruby text. It's very small, but I'm
この
really
最新
tired
端
right
末
now.
アーク
So
ス2ではさらなる新機能が実装されている。
アークス
エニグマとは違う帝国製
so
の
they're
戦術
using
オーブメン
Ruby
トか。
text here.
正確には帝国ラインフォルト社とエプスタイン財団の共同開発ですね。いよいよ実戦配備ですか。
ああ、新機能についてはおいおい説明するとして、3人ともこれを受け取ってくれ。
これは。
エニグマにもあった。確かマスタークォーツでしたっけ。
ああ、基本概念は同じはずだ。開いたスロット板の中央にはめられるから。
了解。
ここかな。
さて、俺もつけておくか。
So you can skip this since you've seen this enough times on my channel. So we're going to create a second save file here. Okay, so all I have to say is may the victims of the Kyoto Animation fire and all the works that are lost rest in peace. This is Lucas Notch. I'm out.